Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw, Editorial Director at TigerFitness.com and Muscle and Brawn Nutrition CEO. Guys, today I want to talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mental cues that I work through when doing rack pulls. Rack pulls are a little bit different mentally than deadlifts when it comes to the setup. So I want to talk about the 7 mental cues that I have that might help you pull more on your rack deadlifts. Before I get into this topic, guys, I encourage you to please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate the support. So, for a very long time, my rack pulls or my block pulls were weaker than my floor deadlifts. Back when my deadlift was approaching 500 pounds, this was the case. I invested a lot of time over the next 4 years in bringing up my deadlift strength from 3 inches off the ground, 5 inches off the ground, 7 inches off the ground. Now, it doesn't matter if you pull from blocks or pull from a rack. I believe pulling at this height is a great option for increasing your deadlift strength, generally because it is more lower back friendly. So there are some things that I found that help with, that help with pulling from 3, 5 to 7 inches. Now, here are my cues. The first cue, and I just did them tonight, I hit 635 for 3 reps from 3 inches off the ground. I'm not sure if that was a PR, but it was pretty close. My first cue is feet halfway under the bar. So if this is the bar, if that's the barbell, you want your feet about halfway under. Sometimes I might pull them just a little bit back. Some of you might pull them a little bit back. This will help you sink a little bit or get a little bit better leverage position from the start. So about halfway under or just a little bit back. That's cue number 1. Cue number 2 is get your grip, and you want your arms to be about straight. You don't want to deadlift like this because that'll pull your torso lower to the ground. Get your arms straight and then lock them. I have to mentally say that to myself before I pull, because if you don't have your arms locked when you deadlift and they jerk like that, whoop, you open the potential to tear your bicepticon. So I get my feet set up, I lock my arms, and I do that on every set, even warm-up sets. I tell myself to lock my arms. That's cue number 2. Cue number 3 is raise my hips. Now you're saying, what? What are you raising your hips for? Hear me out. I'll raise my hips, and there's a reason for that, but that is cue number 3. Cue number 4 is sink my hips, tightening my hamstrings, and sinking onto my heels. So, cue number 3 was raising my hips. Once I get my hips up, I sink my hips while tightening my hamstrings. Like a coil, like a spring. This is a big mistake. A lot of deadlifters and a lot of pullers don't, this is a big mistake that a lot of deadlifters make. They don't get those hamstrings nice and tight like a coil. At my previous meet, some guys were watching me do this and they said they've never seen it before. So it's not the norm. So lower those hips, and tighten your hamstrings like a coil. You lower them while you're lowering your weight onto your heels. That is cue number 4. Now, cue number 5 is you're lowering until you get to that natural leverage position. What is a natural leverage position? It varies from lifter to lifter. Some try to tell you it's exactly like this, but some of the best deadlifters in the world have hips that are a little bit higher. So really, it all comes down to personal experience. So you're going to lower those hips, lower your weight, your hips, tightening your hamstrings like a coil onto your heels until you reach that natural leverage position. Reach that natural leverage position. That's cue number 5. Number 6 is once you're in that position where your hips are down, your hamstrings are tight, I brace the lower back. I don't hyperextend the lower back. I don't round the lower back this way. You want a neutral spine position. You want it braced. Just think of it as if you're clenching your fist, but you're clenching your lower back and your abs. You're tightening up your core. You're preparing to pull. From that point, you pull. I just think cue number 7 is pull. Don't think pull the bar off the ground. Think stand up, hips forward. So just to recap, here are the 7 cues that I use when rack pulling or block pulling. Number 1, feet halfway under the bar or a little bit back. Number 2, lock your arms. Think lock my arms. You don't want loose arms. You don't want bicep tears. And just make sure, again, that your arms are just about 90 degrees to the ground. You don't want them out like this, pulling your torso to the ground and creating poor leverage on the deadlift. Cue number 3 is to raise your hips. Cue number 4 is to sink your hips while tightening your hamstrings and putting your weight on your heels. Cue number 5 is sink them until you find that natural leverage position. So cue number 5 is natural leverage position. Cue number 6 is brace your lower back. Don't hyperextend it. Don't round it. Brace it. Brace your lower back and core. And the final cue is pull. Don't think about pulling the bar up. Think about standing up, driving your hips forward. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. The best questions I will turn into a video like this. If you've made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I would appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.